Just remember that Pop Culture Minefield, when it's discussing rumors, are just rumors. You have to take them with a grain of salt.
This program is not for children. If you are under the age of 13, then politely leave. You spoilt little twats. Thank you.
From the deepest, darkest recesses of Dangerous Nerds headquarters, Keith Moncrief and Gary Kissel.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Pop Culture Minefield. Normally I would point over and say that that's Keith, but this is Tom from Midnight's Edge.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
He's sitting in for my buddy Keith because Keith is on holiday. That's usually the European way of saying on a little vacation. So we are going to be talking about Mikey Sutton's article, which is in response, of course, to Grace Randolph's scoop on Pedro Pascal quitting on the Mandalorian. So I'm going to pull up this article here. I'll just do a quick read. This isn't the bad news you're looking for. Rumors of Pedro Pascal walking off the Mandalorian set in a huff halfway through the filming of season 2 circulated globally last week. According to the gossip, Pascal became upset when he was told he couldn't remove his helmet during certain scenes. The rumors then escalated into a clickbaited speculation that Pascal would either leave or be booted off the show. Sources close to the matter firmly denied both reports. The sources explained the obvious, that Pascal knew when he signed that, for the most part, his face will not be shown, that he should demand FaceTime now makes no sense. It's an integral part of his character. Moreover, Pascal's doubles, Brendan Wayne and Lateef Crowder, also share time in the costume, so whatever discomfort he encounters wearing it isn't exclusive to him, and there are people who can relieve him if necessary. One source added, the controversy is just, quote, another example of how people are trying to damage the Star Wars brand for personal beef or profit from it on social media, end quote. So there we have it, man. What do you think, Tom?
Well, we have a few different sides here. I feel like there's one side that's completely misunderrepresented. Now, up front, I got to say, obviously, I respect Mikey's reporting, and he always does some pretty solid reporting, so there's no question there. And basically, I even thought that this whole thing was kind of made no sense. And then we heard a similar story from a completely different source. Somebody who was semi-attached to the project in a way, like I can't give away, again, like Mikey says sources, their sources, and then we have our own sources that have said something else. The funny thing was the version that I heard from this other source was more so, it's not so much about the being in the mask thing, which if anything, the mask thing had more to do with, he's a star on the rise. He's got his name attached to this project. And like we pointed out in our video, it's understandable.
Yeah, I watched your video.
Yeah, and it's understandable that an actor at his place would want to be somebody who would be seen on screen more often, especially being associated with something like Star Wars. But at the same time, what Mikey came up with here makes sense. But the part that stuck out to us that was a bit different, I wouldn't say it was different, but it was more emphasized than what Grace's report was. And that was him going over Favreau and Filoni's head, and more so it being about script changes, not so much about the mask issue. It sounded like was the bigger problem, which these things do tend to happen. Prime example is what's going on with Ray Fisher right now. I mean, one of his main complaints was that Joss Whedon didn't listen to his story suggestions, which is something maybe Snyder did. So there's why that, situation may be confusing for him and cause him to want to be upset about that. And it's not abnormal for any actor, especially the lead actor in your series, to want to have some input on what's going on. But what is true is basically what kind of Mikey touched on here, and what a lot of people have said, regardless one way or the other, whether they believe this or not, is that this isn't exactly a, look at my face kind of part. It's a glorified voiceover where
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Basically plays once in a great while in the costume, and he's had like one scene where we've seen his face. Now, again, I think from what I was gathering from that other report, if this is true, and frankly, I have reason to believe this other report, so that adds credence to Grace's reports, but Mikey also says he's heard from his sources that it's not true. But again, if it was much to do about nothing in the end has been dealt with, it may have been something that was made up to be more than it was. Yeah.
Because Pedro has been doing a really good job of doing interviews and publicity, and he's not showing any sign of slowing down with the show. As far as, any publicity he's done with his co-actors, co-cast. In fact, he was bantering with one of our favorites, Gina, and nothing came out of that. And it's really hard to tell, because I know they have to be tight-lipped when there's legal stuff on the line dealing with contracts. And, and I tell people contracts are really important, because they're not there for when things are going right. They're there for when things go wrong. And so maybe that's why he's playing nice. I don't know. But, I think there's something going on, but I really have trouble believing part of that story in that he was having an issue with the helmet and the costume.
Right. Like I was saying, I think it has more to do with a story situation.
That makes a lot more sense.
That was the thing that we kept hearing was there. We kept, and again, our personal sources that Andre has kept hearing more to do with just there's some kind of shift going on. And then I heard again from another source yesterday the same kind of thing. And this was somebody who's actually very close to the production, who knows somebody very close to the production as far as Lucasfilm goes. And they're like, no, there's truth to the whole shift thing. I don't know about the Pedro thing. That's what they said. They didn't say no, it didn't happen. They just said they don't know. But they do know there's some kind of shift.
Well, we do know that part of that shift came right from Favreau himself, where he was talking about how they're going to start branching out on the show. And the name of the show is The Mandalorian. So there's more than one Mandalorian on this show. So God only knows what that means. So we'll see what's going to happen. The trailer looks good. I'm excited for this new season. I don't know. Yeah, what are your final thoughts on this, man?
It'll be interesting to see. Of course, we're not going to know, if there is any major story change or shift or character focal change in the show until we actually see it. As far as this Pedro Pascal thing, I really don't think we'll ever find out the truth. I really don't. I think it'll just be one of those famous stories that until maybe 30, 40 years down the line, somebody will
deathbed, right?
Or just they'll happen to say something about it, be like, oh yeah, that whole thing was real. But it just got, because conveniently for Grace, she kind of leaves it in a situation where, yeah, this thing has been resolved. Yeah, so if it did happen, if it was resolved, everybody's going to deny it anyway. So
that's one of those things. Make up a rumor. Pedro Pascal kills stuntman on set in hiding.
Well, that's going a little bit to the extreme, but no, that's what I'm saying. We get accused all the time of making stuff up, but it's like, hey, at least our stuff isn't. If it was something we were going to make up, it would be something that'd be completely crazy, and kind of close-ended in this situation like this. It's something you'll never be able to prove, which isn't the case. Whenever we hear something, and I didn't even really want to do that video. Full disclosure, that was more Andre pushing that video, and if it wasn't for me coming across the one info, I'd have been, nope, I'm not. I don't want any part of this other than editing it, I guess. But no, I give my input on it. I heard that story, and I'm like, I couldn't believe it, but I did. It was and it has nothing to do with Grace Randolph, so it was I guess we got to acknowledge it. And again, it's one of those things where it probably will depend in the future on who you are asking. Do I believe it? I believe there's some kind of truth to it.
About
I really do.
This much truth to it.
I think it has less to do with the mask thing and more to do with characters and stories and that kind of a thing. Yeah.
I'm in complete agreement with you on that. And that's what Keith and I were talking about previously, is that I don't buy this. I buy this part of it. I don't buy this part of it because it makes no sense. But, well, there you go. We did it. And I appreciate you sitting in as co-host on the show, Tom. And, of course, Tom is on Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge After Midnight. Even though that name always makes me giggle.
Midnight's Edge After Dark? Yeah.
Or After Dark. Yeah, it's like, isn't it already After Dark?
Yes, but we stole the name or appropriated the name from like Playboy After Dark. And then it's funny because as soon as we did that, there's a bunch of other channels that started doing the same thing. I've seen a few others, but yeah, anyway.
You have my word as a friend. I will never steal that from you.
I don't care if anybody does. It was just whatever. We had to come up with a name for it. So
by my saying that, we will do it for fun, just for shits and giggles one night.
My dog's knocking shit over there, evidently. So, all right.
All right, Tom. Thanks for sitting in. And that's it, guys, for Pop Culture Minefield. We're out of here. Get off our lawns.
Hey, guys. Thanks for watching Pop Culture Minefield. If you've enjoyed the show, please remember to like and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the bell icon. Remember, you can find us at Pop Culture Minefield on both Facebook and Instagram. Thank you again.
Y'all come back now. You hear?